to another episode of the Not Just Nursing Show. I am your host, Kara Severe, and as always, I'm so excited to share about this wonderful show. We focus on the lives of nurses, the lives that are so amazing, so inspirational. So excited to be the host for this show. Today, we are going to focus on this amazing and very talented nurse. She is running for State House District 39 in the state of Georgia. We're going to welcome Nurse Victoria Randle to the show. Welcome to the Not Just Nursing Show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being a guest on our show. So excited to have you. You're very gifted, you're very talented, and I want to really just talk about State House District 39 and what areas that it covers.
Okay. That area covers Mableton, Austell, small parts of Powder Springs, Vinings, as well as Smyrna. So in the Cobb County area.
Cobb County, okay. Along with that, we talked about nursing being your foundation.
Yes.
And I really want to bring our audiences into the life of a nurse. What areas did you specialize in?
Okay, wow. So in my years of nursing, I did a little bit of everything. I think a lot of nurses find themselves trying to learn the ropes.
Right.
So initially I did long-term acute care, vent management and wound management. I did that for 4 years. Wow. Then I went on into management, actually.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I moved right on into management. I helped co-manage a surgical unit, 75-bed surgical unit.
Okay.
And then in between time, I did a little bit of traveling here and there. So I also did chest pain observation. That's about it.
Wow, and that's really a wide range of experience, especially being able to go into management with nursing. How was that different from bedside nursing, going into that management arena?
I loved the management role because not only was I able to advocate for the patients, I was also able to advocate for my staff.
Okay.
Which was huge. You know, when we're on the floor, we see things that could potentially be changed, and what better person than a person who's lived it and has done it
exactly
to help advocate for the individuals on the floor who need the change. So I love that role as well.
Exactly, and I think that's fantastic. Not all of us nurses have that desire to move into that arena as far as management goes, and you're right, being on the floor and transitioning into that role is very, very helpful. I know we had spoken previously about your family, and I want to get a little bit into just your background. I know that you lived in Austell for the past 8 years with your husband and 3 daughters. Been a registered nurse for 7 years, and then went on to get your Master's of Science in Nursing.
Yes.
And you are currently working as a Family Nurse Practitioner.
Yes, and I love it.
That is wonderful. Say that again. I love it.
I love it.
That's wonderful. When you find that passion, there's nothing like being able to say, I love it, and actually, take authority and conviction over your career. And there was something else. Oh, you have a career center. Tell us a little bit more about your involvement in the community and then the career center.
Okay. So in working as a nurse, and even before I became a nurse, I found that, CNAs are the backbone of what it is that we do. We need CNAs, and I was a CNA for about 7 years before I even became a nurse.
Okay.
So I decided, we're in my work and in my own personal experiences, I found that people need a little bit of help in determining how to maneuver the educational system. I know I did. I came from a background where no one went to college. I was the first.
Okay.
So I decided to develop a career center called New Beginnings Career Center. And what we do is we help people figure out and how to navigate what their career options are. We also teach them how to interview for jobs. We teach them how to apply for scholarships. We teach them how to apply to college.
Wow.
Because as silly as it sounds, I didn't even know how to apply to college.
Right. It's not silly at all. I mean,
I had no idea.
Right.
None. So I literally just walked into a college, said, I think I want to become a nurse. How does this work?
Right.
So I found that I wasn't the only one. There was a lot of people who also had that experience. And so that's why I started the nonprofit to help those individuals so that they can get the experience they need to get where it is they want to go.
Right. And I love the boldness that you show. I know that I want to get here. Let me just go there and then work my way back. And you have to really do that in life. When you don't have the answers, you have to really go out there really and make it happen. So
you got to find the answers.
Right. It's not going to come to you, right?
No.
What is it? Seek and what happens?
You
shall find it. Right. You have to seek it first. So I think that's just amazing, and that shows actually how you laid the groundwork for where you are today. Just saying, hey, I know not that much about this particular arena, and now I'm going to branch off and learn as much as I can and make a contribution.
Yeah, because, I initially started off working in a nursing home as a CNA, and all the nurses were, and that's why as a nurse, whenever I see a CNA and that they're doing great, I try to cultivate a spirit in them to go on and further their education. And that's what a lot of the nurses did for me. Because I didn't ever even think that becoming a nurse was an option for me.
Wow.
Yeah, I really didn't. And so they saw something in me, they cultivated a spirit, and I decided, well, maybe they're right. Maybe I'll become a nurse, and now here I am.
Right, and so much more. Went on and got your Master's of Science in Nursing, and a lot of nurses stop with the Bachelor's of Science, but to go on to Master's of Science in Nursing, and tell our viewers the difference between a registered nurse and then getting your Master's of Science in Nursing and then your certification, what that difference is.
Okay. So, working as a registered nurse, you're basically having hands-on patient interaction, patient care, working with the physician, implementing whatever interventions he wants, administering whatever medications, things of that nature, assessing the patient, making sure that they're okay post-surgery or before procedures, whatever. I went on and obtained my master's, and then with my master's degree in family practice, I basically practice as a family nurse practitioner. I do urgent care, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I treat, I diagnose, I look for issues, I can write for imaging. So if, for instance, I have a patient who comes in who has some breathing issues, I may send them off for a chest x-ray, read those chest x-ray results and determine whether or not they need any type of intervention, medication, or whatever. In addition to that, we also, the thing I love about becoming a family nurse practitioner is that we also look at the body's response, just like we do as nurses.
Right.
We look at the body's response to the disease, and we try to find different lifestyle management and different lifestyle changes we can help that person implement to help them, rather than always running towards medicine initially.
Right.
So the contrast between the two, I feel like I have a little bit more autonomy as a family nurse practitioner, and I have more time. I get to have a one-on-one patient interaction, and I get to educate them and make them feel empowered about their choices. I just don't tell them this is what you're going to do. I give them options and allow them to figure out which one works best for their life.
Right. So it seems like the advocacy has gone from maybe managing a team of 5 to maybe just 1 at a time.
Right.
And it kind of gives you, as you said, more time to cultivate that relationship, and that way help them really overcome or manage that current condition that they're in.
Right.
Which seems a little bit more longer lasting, I should say.
Yes, that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to get in. So many patients would tell me, well, I wasn't sure about that, or I didn't know, or no one ever told me, or no one ever takes the time with me. And I said, it hurts my heart for someone to come in with diabetes in the hospital and lose a foot. I mean, it was just driving me nuts. I said, I've got to get to the beginning. I've got to get when they're first diagnosed and educate them as much as I can so that they understand and they don't end up losing their foot.
Right.
So that was one of the, working in the hospital, you see everything.
Absolutely. And experience quite a few.
You see everything. And I thought, how can I get in, before this? How can I help prevent this from even getting here?
Right. I think that's a wonderful way to look at nursing and how you can see where your skill set is best utilized. What has been your most significant challenge in your role as a nurse practitioner?
I'd probably have to say learning how to advocate for myself. Learning what that looks like. As a nurse and as a nurse practitioner, we advocate for everyone else. We advocate for our patients, we advocate for, on behalf of the doctors, we advocate for the social worker, we're advocating for everyone, and we never really stop and think about how can I advocate for myself. And I noticed that once I became a nurse practitioner, there was a lot of restrictions for me. I was unable to practice at the full capacity that I was taught in my full knowledge. And so learning how to advocate for myself to help that was a challenge at first, because I was a little unsure how to do that. And the more I did my research and the more I spoke with other nurses and started learning more things, I realized that I could advocate for myself, and that's how I'll be running for the House of Representatives. That's one of the ways that came about.
Fantastic, and I can't wait to hear more about that. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors. Welcome back to the Not Just Nursing Show. We are with our guest, Victoria Randle. Thank you so much. Let's talk about your advocacy for the community. What inspired you to go beyond nursing and then get involved in your community?
To be honest, I was on the search for another little Victoria.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was on the search for another little Victoria. As I stated, I kind of didn't have any guidance, and I wanted to reach out to individuals because I know that I wasn't alone, and just reach out to individuals like myself who needs a little bit of encouragement, who needs a little bit of guidance, and my community, definitely is one that could benefit from those type of services as well. So I decided, why not utilize my expertise, the things I've learned, and implement it in my own community to help them as well.
I love how I'm hearing the theme of giving back. So you were looking for yourself, knowing that, you know what, there may be another person out here who's just like me, looking for guidance.
Yes.
And you took what was done for you and said, let me go ahead and reach down and help someone else. So congratulations for that.
Thank you. I think it's so important. So many times we get to where it is that we want to be, and we're so complacent in being there, and we're so focused on self that we forget that you had assistance getting here. You may have had a little bit of help getting here, and you need to provide the same.
Right, that's very true, especially with being a nurse, and you mentioned being a care partner or nursing assistant, and a lot of us go through that. I think I was a care partner for about a little less than a year before I actually took the test for my state boards, but we forget that we were once in that position and had to get some assistance, so it's wonderful to see you giving back. As a candidate for State House District 39, we talked about it being basically Cobb County, and I think, does that distinguish between like East Cobb and West Cobb? I want to get really specific to see who your constituents are, so that they know who you are and how we can reach them.
Yeah, so we are basically considered South Cobb. Okay. Kind of West South Cobb, but the majority of the area is considered South Cobb. So yeah.
Okay, so South Cobb. We definitely at the Not Just Nursing Show want to congratulate you on running for this state office. When did you decide to run for office?
I kind of decided the week of qualifying, to be honest. Okay. I decided, in all of my endeavors and everything that I was doing in the community, a lot of people would always pull me aside and say, Victoria, you haven't thought about running for office? I could see you in office one day, and I would hear that all the time. And then again, I said, I don't know what that looks like. Let me do some research. Let me see what that looks like. And so in working in the community and doing advocacy, I started to learn what those channels look like, who does what in my community, and I started to build relationships with individuals who were in office in my community so that I can learn more about what those roles look like. And again, someone called me the week before qualifying and said, hey, qualifying's coming up. Have you really considered this? And I said, I think I will. I think I'm going to go for it. I think I'm in a place in my life where I am ready to take it to the next level. I am tired of, sending emails. I'm tired of calling. I'm tired of, calling someone and complaining about things that are going on in my community. I'm ready to take it to the next level and get into a seat where I can actually be a voice of my community about what's going on in our community and help fix it.
I think that's fantastic. It's one of those thought processing abilities where you can say, instead of me complaining about the problem, let me be the answer.
Yes.
So I think that is fantastic.
Yes.
Solution oriented.
I'm a big proponent of, you can complain all day, but you at least need to come with one solution. You don't have to have the solution, but at least come with one, and then we can build upon that.
I know it's a huge commitment to run for public office. How is your family coping with that? I know you mentioned you have 3 little girls, you have a husband. Tell us about that. How does that look for you at home?
Right now, it does look rough.
Okay. Thank you for being so candid.
It is rough because, as soon as I get off work, I'm right out on the streets canvassing. And every weekend, I am, somewhere speaking at, whatever type of group, setting that's going on. I mean, I'm trying to keep my name out there. Trying to touch those individuals that are in the area to hear what their issues are, hear what their concerns are. because I want to be the advocate. It's not about what I want, it's more about what is needed. And so, but it's been rough on my family because, especially my little girls, they're used to having me all the time. So right now it's been rough, but everything happens, pain is not forever. Let's say that.
Correct.
Pain is for the moment,
right.
And we're going to get through this. And once I make it into the house, I know that there's still a commitment there that lies, and it's for the greater good. It's for me, and not only me, my family, my community.
And I just really appreciate you having the foresight to say, let's look down the line. How does this look when you get into office? What sorts of differences can you make in your community? And then having enough courage to take the sacrifice right now and as a family and say, let's do this for this short period of time, and then we'll move into what it looks like long term.
Right.
If you could describe your family support system in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
One would be unconditional caring. I know my husband, since we've been together, I have went through multiple endeavors, and he has always been supportive of every last one of them. Very, very supportive. So unconditional love, that's definitely there. Yeah, and then they are supportive, and they're understanding, all 3, because they know that it's not all about us. We share this world with other people, whether we want to or not. We share this world with other people. So in sharing this world with other people, we have to figure out a way that we can all cohesively live together, so that it's not chaos, and we can't just sit back and wait for somebody else to do it. Somebody has to do it.
Exactly. So now is a point in time where you will tell the world about your platform. With Victoria Randle being a candidate for State House District 39, what do you want the world to know?
Well, it's funny because knocking on doors, that's everyone's first question. Well, what's your platform? What is it that you want to do? What do you want to do? And I like to reverse that question, and I like to say, what is it that you want me to do for you? I think we have gotten in a place where we are looking for leaders to tell us what to do, and looking for answers in them, when the answer really lies in each and every one of us. I want to be an advocate, and I have been an advocate all my nursing career. So the biggest thing in my theme in my platform is, what is it? What are the issues in our community? What is important to you? And for me to voice that up at the Gold Dome, if you will, so that when bills come up, I can say, well, my community, they're not on board with that. And regardless of how I may feel about that particular topic, it's about what the consensus is. And if the consensus is that they don't want it, they don't want it. So I have to vote on behalf of that. So that's the biggest thing, and I'm okay with that. I understand that. And that's the biggest part of my platform. But in knocking on doors and speaking with people in my community, I have found that some of the bigger themes are healthcare. Obviously, healthcare is huge. A lot of them are saying, well, what about me? I'm between 60 and 65. I'm retired, but I don't qualify for Medicare. So what can you do for me? That's not an issue I personally have to think about. So in speaking with other individuals, I'm learning that that's something that's going on in the community, and I see it in the hospitals anyhow, that's an issue. So healthcare is one issue that I'm a huge proponent for. A second one is education. Okay? Education in our area. Cobb County is the 5th richest county in the entire state of Georgia. But if you would look at south side of Cobb County, where we reside in South Cobb, that's not the same reflection that you see there. And so, we definitely need to work and strive for ensuring that our school systems in our area are preparing our children. They're not underperforming. What does that look like? How can we fix that? Because I have kids who reside in that area who, attend those schools, and we need to make sure that they get the education that they need. And for individuals who don't have kids, that's fine. You may not have kids that reside in those schools, but guess what? They're going to become members of society. And so we want to equip them and empower them with all the tools that they need to be successful in our community, so that they're not breaking in and they're not stealing cars or, whatever the situation may be. And speaking about that, another thing is sometimes safety. People are concerned about, what are we going to give the youth in our area? What type of things are we going to give them to do to keep them from doing or making wrong decisions? Because we know what they say, idle mind is the devil's playground, right? So, working as hard as I can to ensure that we have funds and resources in our area to keep those, the youth and the young adults out of trouble, keep them busy, give them the opportunity to learn, which is why I started New Beginnings Career Center. Teach them how to get into that job and how to maintain that job. So those are some of my biggest focal points in my platform, if you will.
I really think that your platform is historical. And when I say historical, I mean when you were speaking about knocking door to door and saying, it's not what I can do and what my platform is, it is what do you need? I am your advocate.
That's right.
And do you know what that made me think about? Even though I wasn't born at that time, I've seen a lot of footage and things of that nature about JFK and his famous statement, ask not what I can do. What is it? Ask not what I can do for your country, but what you can do for your country. And I know that's not exactly as he worded it, but he's basically
but what can your country do for you?
What can you do for your country? Don't ask, what this country can do for you. What can you do for this country? And it's a call to action. And that's really big in today's time, is a call to action. And there's a lot of advocacy, people marching in the streets. Things are happening in cities such as the city that we live in.
Yes.
And it's empowering people to make decisions and say, hey, this is not okay. We want to go out here. We want to make a difference. And to have someone in office who recognizes it's not about me having my own independent platform.
Right.
It's about me knocking on doors and saying, what is going on? What's the theme here? How can I help advocate?
Right.
So I think that's really important for people to know about you. That's I haven't heard that as a platform before. People usually have their own, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But you are saying, I'm going to do what you need me to do. What does this community need me to do? And that is different. That's refreshing. And it is a throwback to historical figures such as JFK. So I think you will do really, really well. And that should definitely be your focal point. I'm here to advocate such as I would in the hospital, but here in the community as well.
Right.
And it makes us think about how your nursing career would influence your candidacy.
Correct.
So tell us about how your nursing experience would also play a role in the State House District 39.
Right, thanks for asking that.
Absolutely.
Definitely advocacy, as we've already touched on. I've spent my career advocating on behalf of individuals, and so in doing so, I know what that looks like, and I know how to relay the voice despite any type of pushback that I get, because you get pushback when you're advocating on behalf of your patients. You get major pushback. So you have to learn how to overcome resistance and still be that voice, but still be the voice that's that resonates. Not being too harsh, but still letting it be known that despite your pushback, I'm not going to back down, because this is what my patient or my community needs. So that is one big thing I think that my nursing career has helped and will help when I get into house, because I'm going to claim it.
Absolutely. And it's okay. We're going to support you in that. So when you get into office,
when I get into office, another thing would be being able to acknowledge when you need to consult someone else, right? Yes, because we cannot, be the knower of all. I can't know everything, but it is important for me to acknowledge when I need to consult someone else, when I need to bring someone on board. I have significant experience and knowledge when it comes to the healthcare field, but if it was something that was coming up that I know that would influence, let's say, teachers in my area, I need to recognize that I'm not a teacher, and there may be some certain avenues or certain things that need to be looked at in terms of a bill that I need to bring a teacher on board or teachers on board to help me with. So that's another thing, learning how to consult and when to consult, and recognizing that you do not know everything and you need to consult other people who may have certain expertise in that particular department. So, and then the last thing I would say is policy. As a nurse and in my experience right now as a nurse practitioner, the current role that I have, I do a lot of policy review. And in policy review, I am reviewing policies to determine, is this policy isn't going to work? Okay, everything looks good on paper, right? But when you roll it out, when you actually implement it, is it going to be effective, and what could be potential drawbacks from this policy? Not only that, but is there ambiguous language in this policy? And I'm finding that when it comes to nurse practitioner bills, there's a lot of ambiguity in the language in these bills. And so we need to ensure that we're looking at all bills to ensure that there is not ambiguous language, because if there is, it allows individuals to manipulate that bill to work for however they want it to work for them. We need clear-cut, black and white sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So my experience in being able to do that, again, can help me in the house because I already know, and that's what I've been doing.
It really seems like a lot of the nursing skills, because you're using words like consult and advocacy, and I'm thinking, yes, very familiar with that, and you're right. And the hospital is a community, so you're just moving from that particular community to where you work now as a family nurse practitioner, and then now going into your actual physical living community.
Very good point, yes.
I see your mindset, and it's just really remarkable, and we always, will continue to support you in your endeavors.
Thank you.
So we are going to pause for a short break, and we will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
All right.
Welcome back to the Not Just Nursing Show. We are with our guest, Victoria Randle, candidate for State House District 39. Welcome back.
Yes.
Welcome back. So we want to talk about advice for your constituents. I love how you mentioned on your platform that you are the advocate for the community. What would you tell your constituents right now that haven't met you?
One of the main things I would tell them is, they've learned a lot about me if they're watching this and so forth. But just look at your candidate options, and not just for the House, but for all seats. And have an active role in the primaries. I can't stress enough how important it is to have a role in the primaries. If you don't, then come November, you're getting the leftovers, literally. You're getting what everyone else has chose to be on the ballot, and you don't have very many options. That's why in November, when you go in and vote, you just have your one Republican and your one Democrat candidate, and you choose from either. So in the primaries, you have the option to choose whatever Democratic candidates, whatever Republican candidates you have, you can choose from those and decide who's going to actually go on the November ballot. So that's the biggest thing. Explore your options, make sure you do vote in the primaries, and then if a person can talk a good game, they can, but you have to take a moment to do your research and look behind them and see what it is that they've done. So, for instance, with my nonprofit, New Beginnings Career Center, you can look up New Beginnings Career Center in Austell and see the work that we've done. We are on Facebook, and you'll see me working with my students in the lab, and the CNA students, and teaching them things in the lab, or doing the resume workshops. These are things that I have actually done. I am the community. My family, we are the community, and so anything I can do to help the community. So you got to just do your research and don't be blind. I'm not going to lie. For the longest in my earlier years, I was blind. I would blindly vote, just to say I voted. But you have to take it a step further.
Right. Thank you for being so candid about what the responsibility is being members of particular communities. If we do not live in District 39, how can we support you in your campaign?
Okay, right now I need a lot of support. So, we are knocking on doors, we are phone banking, making phone calls to individuals. So I need people helping me with phone calls. I need people helping me, just coming up with different ideas for fundraising. The biggest thing is the canvassing, though. I can't tell you how happy people are to meet me face to face, and if I can have a group of people out with me. Sometimes people aren't there or they don't answer, but if a person does answer the door, and whoever's knocking on behalf of me can say, if you want Victoria, she'll be here in just a moment. She's right around the corner. She can ask that question, or answer that question rather, for you. So, but those are the things I need. I need that type of assistance. And even though you're not in my district, you can help provide that.
Perfect. How can people reach you? How do we get in contact with you in being able to help?
Okay, 2 means of communication. I believe in accessibility, so I can be reached telephone number. So that would be 678-310-6168. If you don't like to call and you just prefer maybe to send an email, it is electvictoriarandle@gmail.com. And my last name is spelled a little different, so it's Randle. So electvictoriarandle@gmail.com.
Perfect. So we talked about the primaries. That is very important to understand that there are 2 different race days, so to speak. There are primaries when you get a chance to look at a more wide range of people who are campaigning versus the actual election when they kind of narrow it down.
Correct.
When is election day to get to our primaries?
Okay, so primary election in the state of Georgia is going to be May 22nd. There is early voting, so if you can't make May 22nd, I believe it is April 30th. Please, it is also very important to just go log on to the state's website to make sure that you are registered. Many of us think we're registered, and you may be, but for instance, like me, I got married and my last name changed, and so I forgot, thinking about voting, that my last name, if your last name doesn't match, you won't be able to vote. If you recently moved, even though you're in the same district, you may have an issue with voting. So ensure that your voter's registration is up to date and that you know where it is that you need to vote. The voting is May 22nd.
Perfect. And after May 22nd, then I think you mentioned a November
yep, and then the November election will come up, and again, I just can't stress enough to just make sure that you know all your candidates and that you're ready and prepared when it's time to actually go and vote.
Perfect. And that leads us to our final question, which is, what do your constituents need to know about you? What else should we know? Where were you born and raised? Just some of those fun things. You know how you can get on social media and look up fun facts about people. Yes. But I want people to log on to the Not Just Nursing Show and say, hey, what can we get that we can't see, on social media about Victoria Randle?
All right. Well, I was not born, but I was raised in Indiana, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
And I grew up there until I was 18 and graduated high school. That was rough, though. I will admit, I had a rough upbringing. My mom passed away when I was 15. She didn't just pass away, she was actually killed. So at 15, and I kind of raised myself literally from that point on. And I got done with high school. I worked during the day, and I went to high school at night. I went to night school and graduated because I know that my mom would kill me from her grave if I didn't.
Yeah.
But needless to say, Indiana was rough for me, and I wanted to get out. So at the age of 19, I moved here to Georgia all on my own.
Okay.
And this has been my new residence ever since.
Okay.
If you want to know something about Victoria that she likes to do, I love to skate. So for my nonprofit New Beginnings Career Center, we do an annual skate night, usually at Cascade Skating Rink, because I love to skate. I love to skate, and so we get out and we have fun every year. I'm usually in April. Let me think. Anything else about me?
So much so far. I'm really impressed by just your tenacity. I didn't know about your mom, and I'm very sorry to hear that. But to see how that did not take you down and how you just keep, persevering. I think you're an amazing candidate. I look forward to hearing very positive things about you in the future. And we just, as I said to you before, support you here at the Not Just Nursing Show and beyond. And we look forward to staying connected with you. We look forward to hopefully, prayerfully, energetically, just participating in your wonderful, election party. We just really want you to win. We think that you would be a great fit for that role in the State House. And to that end, I know we spoke about contributions and how important it is to receive support.
Yes.
And I know you had something on Facebook talking about nurses, and if we could just band together with as many friends as you have and with as many nurses, especially in Georgia, as there are, we should be really contributing to you. And so, on behalf of the Not Just Nursing Show, I'm going to make a contribution today to you and to your campaign. It's just very important.
Thank you.
It's one thing to say with your mouth and with words, oh, I support you, and I know you and I talked about that. It's another thing to show your support. So, from the Not Just Nursing Show to you.
Oh, thank you.
We support you.
You're
welcome.
It.
You're
thank
very
you
welcome.
So much.
You're very welcome.
No, it is important because, we know that funds money is what helps people get to where it is that they need to be, and I want to do things with integrity.
Right.
You know, I don't want to be bought. I want to do things with integrity. And my mom told me no one likes a liar, no one likes a thief.
Right.
And I've always kept that with me. And so no matter what I do, I always want to keep my integrity. So in saying that, I keep people around me who are supportive of me, and you know, I want to solicit funds in a way that I can utilize them so that I don't have to worry or have a problem sleeping at night. Right. But definitely, you know, I need funds to get mailers out. I need funds to send letters. I need funds to get you know, different signs out, all types of things just to get the word out. You know, it's hard, and I learned that when I got my nonprofit New Beginnings, that it's hard getting the word out about what it is that you do or what you're trying to do without funding. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely,
I really appreciate
absolutely. That. And we do that here on the show just because we support nurses who have stepped away from the bedside to do some amazing and wonderful things. But you're very inspirational in that this task that you have picked up is just really monumental. And I think we talked about, are you making history here? And
yeah. If I win, I'll be the first advanced nurse practitioner ever in the house for the state of Georgia. So that would be awesome.
And I'm getting chills, just all up and down my back.
I know.
Okay, this is wonderful.
Yeah.
So, and that is why we can see that in you. You're very well spoken. Just your story, your background, where you come from, and where you're going to. We really support you. So please keep us posted. You and I, let's stay in contact. We talked about the different ideas, and I have one, and we'll share at the end of the show. But thank you so much for being a guest on the Not Just Nursing Show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Pleasure meeting you and pleasure having you.